So we have some special guests here today, and I'm doing a diversion from my talk because firstly I would like to welcome Aaron Paterson and Tricia, who have travelled from Rockhampton to meet Lord Alderdice. And it's on an historic, personal and nationally symbolic meeting coming full circle across time, culture and identity. Both are descendants of John King, the explorer who survived Burke and Wills. They've both written forwards to two separate books, and Aaron tells the story, the Aboriginal story of forgotten narratives in this book, The Aboriginal Story, and John Alderdice, in the book John King, acknowledges the story of the generosity of Aboriginal people towards his forebear, which he says should not be forgotten. I'd like for them just to come up very briefly to introduce themselves, and they'd like both to say a couple of words.
Hello everybody, my name's Aaron Paterson. Brisbane-born boy, but live in Rockhampton today, Central Queensland, and I wanted to say something in my language, the Alderdice language from Cooper Creek in North East South Australia. It's a little bit about what we're here today to talk about. It's also just about John as well. It's a bit short, but I'll say it in my language first and then I'll say it in English. Maya ngakani. Kanadi ngakani kini papamura yini menkayi. Ngaldanga warakanga Wurundjeri padla nama ningi. Lora jana nuchuru ngutungama. Ngakani. Kana nuchuru patikonati. Ngaldala ningi yenda nanga. Yunduruti. Korani nguru ngalangana waya nindali. And that means, my name is Aaron Paterson. My Aboriginal people are from Cooper Creek at Inaminka, South Australia. We are standing on Wurundjeri land. Lord John Alderdice is my family. John is a good man. We are here to talk to you. Having mental health is not shame to talk about. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Aaron. A word of thanks to Cassie, really, because the story briefly is this. My great-great-granduncle, John King, went out on the Burke Wills expedition, made it to the Gulf of Carpentaria and back to Cooper Creek. But the camp had all left at that stage, and there was just Burke, Wills and John King left. Burke was very dismissive of the Aboriginal people. He wouldn't have a relationship with them. And Wills wasn't courageous enough to stand up to that. But John King was keen to have a relationship with the Aboriginal people. He respected them. He understood that they knew far more about survival there than he ever did. And his relationship with Indian people when he'd been in the British Army had taught him that communication and living and working together was the way forward for him. Because of that, he survived, and the others didn't. But he did more than survive because he developed a relationship with an Aboriginal woman, and they had a little girl. And in my part of the world, in Ireland, we knew about this for a long time, but we never thought there'd be any possible connection. And then when I was coming out here, the author of the book that was mentioned by Pamela said, you know, a guy called Aaron Paterson wrote a really good review on the internet of this book. If there's any chance you could find him, it would be really wonderful. I said, if there's any chance I could find him, you've no idea how wonderful that would be. Because, of course, he's basically my cousin. Well, the efforts of Cassie and a number of other friends meant that we were able to make contact. We were able to talk on the phone. We were able to exchange emails. And because of Cassie's generosity, we were able to meet here in Melbourne. Myself, Aaron, and Patricia, and my wife Joan will be joining us later on today. You can imagine that for us, well, it's kind of taken us over 150 years to get back together again. So for us, it's a pretty big deal. But it's also a big deal because it's about saying what Cassie says on the much wider front, that we have a big relationship with each other far beyond all the things that divide us. And that's what we're here to try to explore and to find out why we just don't live that way and how we can find a way of living in that fashion. And when I said to Erin that I just had a text message from my mother in Ireland to bring greetings to Erin and Patricia, he said, well, I've got a message from my mother in Rockhampton to say, tell your mother that she's got greetings from her as well. Thanks, Pamela. Thanks, Cassie.